Hey everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday edition of the Business Power Hour with Darren, Dimples, and the Music Man. Me. Hey, Dimps.
Hey, Mr. Music Man. How you doing this evening?
What's going on?
How are you?
We're good. What's up? Two ladies. This is a true story. These two ladies at a network meeting came over to me, and he said, your show was really good, but we missed Dimples. Good evening, everybody. I just got the finger from Jim. It's all part of the story. Right.
Hey, everybody. It's Darren from the Business Power Hour. I'm not going to be in the studio tonight. I'm traveling.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Business Power Hour with Darren and the Music Man, except Darren's not here.
I'm here.
No,
I'm
you're
right
not
here.
Does anybody see that? Darren is not here. Darren is away.
I am right here. I'm right
Be quiet
next
for
to
a
you.
second. You're not here. What? I don't know if you got lucky.
Not the really interesting question.
That's a fantastic question, Norman.
Wow. See, I got fantastic. You just got good. I got fantastic.
Show's about him, so let's focus on that.
We are.
Were you drinking before the show?
Oh Jesus!
Oh, geez.
Oh Jesus!
There we go. We got it.
It's good.
No, it's
Now we got a flood.
There you go. Okay.
smother it.
So, I think you got a music thing.
It's making noise.
It's making music.
Is it?
Yeah. That's so sweet. That's so sweet of you, Darren.
By the way, this is a Yankee station.
It's a
Thank
Yankee
you.
station. John,
Thank you.
it's a Yankee station.
All right.
Unfortunately,
We got bugs in here. What's going on?
I don't know.
Do you spray? Get an
It's
exterminator?
that time of year where you're getting bugs and stuff. As long as we don't have bees, I'm good.
Yeah, all right. That's
But
We have a lot of undulations out in the field. Undulations.
Is that a wine?
no,
What the hell is undulation?
Fred, don't use big words. Hey, right? So this.
Help.
I gotta get him a cough button, Jim. What do you think?
A cough button would be a good
Cough
idea. Consider that a good question that he asked?
Great
There you go.
question.
There's
There
a
you go.
good
I
question.
got
Pythons and brains.
You're double D?
I'm double D. Show's about him, so let's focus on that.
We are. Hey, give me some loving.
How are you, Music Man?
Hello, Darren. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm
this week.
absolutely convinced. I'm that
telling you.
got some kind of brain damage when you had that thing last year.
I'm telling you, and he called.
It's not classy, but classy.
Seeing interviews by Darren and the Music Man. Ladies and gentlemen, Darren Siafe and Norman Wasserman.
Let's do this. Yeah. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Business Power Hour with Darren and the Music Man on this absolutely gorgeous Wednesday evening in the middle of December. The sun is out. What a surprise.
I don't know about
Temperatures.
what do we? What a surprise! There's a blizzard going on outside right now.
Is that what it is?
Yes,
Wow.
yes. They're talking about. Yeah, it's not a big deal. It really isn't.
They did say 12. They raised the estimate in the island, though.
You see 8 to 14, 6 to 12.
So maybe we'll get 2 or 3 inches and call it a day.
Yeah, I mean, look, but what you notice though, they go 8 to 14 or 6 to 12. There's always this big wide. They can't tell us we're going to get 7 inches, and it's ended.
It's a guessing game. So how you been for the last couple of days?
I've been good. How are you doing?
Fine. I'm getting older.
No,
Yeah,
no,
I'm getting achy and
both of us
veins.
are getting older. Look at my hair today; it's like sticking up. I'm like,
Look, and you're in a sweatshirt. Me too. I got.
well,
what
this
do you call
isn't. No, this is more of a sweater because it's cold out today. So I wore that. Oh, there you go. Now you're talking. Now you're hip.
What's up?
What's up? So it's it's even better.
I got to tell you, the smartest person we have ever had on this show.
Who,
The
me?
smartest person we have
Other
ever
than me?
had. I'm sorry?
Other than me?
Other than you. You've never appeared on this show. You had your other show when I had a show, and you had your own show.
Right.
This is our show. But the smartest person that you and I have ever had in planning when to be on a Business Power Hour show is our guest tonight,
Yeah.
Stu Kitchner. How perfect. The man, the
The man is an attorney. He's an injury attorney. It's freaking snowing outside.
Well, that's
Accident.
the thing.
Boom.
This
bang.
this is his weather. This is
it. This is what the boy lives for.
I mean, if you remember last year, we had him on about this time, right? Well,
actually,
we had him up in February, and
his phone's ringing off the hook.
It's crazy.
I'm surprised he's sitting backstage waiting to go on.
So let me ask you this: you got your snowblower ready for tomorrow?
Do I look like the kind of guy that would have a snowblower? Oh, yeah, okay. No, I have a shovel.
I took my snowblower out Sunday, got it all working perfectly and everything like that.
What happened to the 6 or 7 guys that you have to clean the property?
6 or 7 guys to clean the property, yeah. I gave them the day off for tomorrow.
That was really sweet of you. Oh, is that their Christmas present? That was really nice.
Mine.
You know what? Before we get sued, we better get this big guy on the show.
Yeah, let's go. Let's welcome Stu in. And
Stu Kitchner. Let's have it, Stu.
Kitchner. Welcome, Stu.
Hit your button, Stu. Turn on your mic.
We just got
sit up in your seat like a big boy.
Yeah, right.
Hey, Stu, how are you, my friend?
Look at
I'm
you.
well.
You're
How are you?
amazing. What a night you picked.
Right.
You were the best.
I just felt it. December 16th is going to be the night.
Shit, if I knew, I'm sorry. If I knew it was going to be that good, the price would have been triple.
Price would have been triple.
And I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that.
Not for a second. Right. Anyway, welcome, Stu. Nice to have you back again for time number 3.
Right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
It's our pleasure. It's always a pleasure to have you. So now that we kind of like almost told everybody what you do, did we almost tell them? Or did we tell
Stu,
them?
yeah, quickly, Stu, for those people who are seeing you for the first time on the Business Power Hour, tell us a little bit about you, your firm, what you guys do, how you do it, and how you got involved in it, because you got a pretty interesting story on how you got involved in doing what you're doing.
Right. I'm a solo practitioner, practicing in the area of personal injury for plaintiffs. So I represent people who have been injured, who have suffered an injury to their body or even in a mental capacity sometimes, due to the negligence of someone else, whether it be a car accident or a slip and fall, a trip and fall, medical malpractice, in some way or manner where someone has received an injury due to the fault of what we call a third party. So I represent these people from the intake of their case through the resulting settlement or verdict if the matter goes to trial. I've always wanted to go to law school, and through high school, had internships, and through college. And then I didn't go immediately to law school after college. Took some time off, and then got myself established in the business world, and then went to school at night a few years after I graduated undergraduate school, and started working in a firm that did this type of practice and fell into it, became very comfortable with it, and very comfortable in appearing in a court.
So,
sorry.
You know, so you like going to, you know, I have an attorney friend of mine that he practices real estate law, and he loves evicting people. So he loves going to court, and he loves evicting people. So, you know, it's one of the things that he even said this morning. You know, I was on a call with him, and he goes, I really can't wait to get into full swing again so I can start throwing people out.
Right.
So
well,
you feel the same way with representing your clients against these insurance companies? Sure.
I know there's a lot of people out there who work for insurance companies, and they do a great job, but it's a battle. It really is a battle. With you have to know which insurance company you're dealing with, and how
they don't want to pay.
Right. So you think a case is worth X amount, they think it's a Y amount, and you battle it through. And most of the cases do get resolved, and sometimes we use a mediator or go to an arbitration. So a neutral, what they call decides the case, and both parties have to agree to that. But the insurance companies are tough.
You know, the cases that you handle, some of them are pretty obvious. And they are in a certain range of money that they wind up getting. Some of them, money can't replace the injuries that they have, which is a shame. And no matter how much money they got, you know, not just they are affected, but their families are affected too. But are there certain like insurance companies that you really want to get because they're a bunch of SOBs?
Oh, sure.
And, you know, and do you know when you take a case, you don't take every case. No attorney takes every case. You ask the potential client to come in, sit down, excuse me, describe the case that you have, and then you make a decision whether you think it's going to be monetarily worth your while to handle it or not.
Correct.
Do you turn away a lot of cases, or is every case worth something and they really need your expertise? These people really do need your expertise to do it. Then you got some people that are in it for the money. They get hurt every other week.
Right. And you could fish those people out pretty easily.
You probably have a reputation. You probably have a sign language between all the attorneys. You know, watch out for so and so or whatever it may be. They're coming, Stu. They're coming.
They have a sign language, so you like doing this. It's like baseball. It's like
right. Well, the question is to the potential client: how many attorneys did you go to before you came to me?
Attorneys, watch out for so and so.
And how many potential attorneys did you see? And also, what are your damages? In other words, there are two aspects to a case. You have to prove what's called liability or fault, and then you have to prove damages, which are your injuries. And if the damages are not severe enough, or the liability is not cut and dry, you reject the case because you're going to get bogged, as an attorney, you are going to get bogged down in this case that is difficult to prove, or the damages just aren't there. And from a business standpoint, you wind up using more resources than you can afford to prosecute a case that's not going to result in any substantial reward to you or the client.
Does any of your potential clients ever walk into you and you ask them to, Mrs. Jones, please have a seat, and in your mind you're going ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching?
You know what? I really don't think Stu's a Norman type. Right? That's why.
Please give me a break. You don't know Stu.
Right.
What do you think? He's in it to goodwill for mankind?
We all know he's in it to make a living, but at the same time,
he's like you. He has the same kind of estate like you have. What are you talking about?
Look, it's a business, and you want to earn a living and make money for sure, definitely. But there are different types of lawyers, just like there are different types of doctors or architects or accountants. I've been known to cut my disbursements on a case involving an infant, where I got kudos from a judge for doing that. It all depends on who you are. And I don't go ka-ching, ka-ching until I hear what the case is about and what the injuries are.
I mean, your secretary doesn't do a pre-screening and say, Mr. Kitchner, you got to see this one.
No. But I get an intake, and I sometimes I reject something where I know I'm just not going to be able to help this person. And sometimes, and the rest of the time, I at least speak to them and take an initial screening.
So, Stu, let me ask you this question. Right. So very, very simply, in like a day like today, are there a lot of, and let's talk about the type of accidents or type of things that you actually take on. If somebody's driving home tonight, very icy out, the roads are bad, and, they get into an accident and they get hurt. Is that something that you handle?
Yes, definitely.
And what's your phone number?
People can reach me at 516 708-9250.
While you're sitting in your car waiting for the ambulance to come.
Right.
Stu, that's Stu's phone number. Just give him a call.
Right. Well,
Actually, Darren segued right into that one. That was a layup.
That was a layup. You went a little quick on me there, Norm. But yeah, all his information's right there. 516-708-9250 or skitchener@kitchenerlaw.com or go to kitchenerlaw.com and
correct.
you can get in touch with Stu and he can help you get all the money that you deserve.
Well,
right?
On a night like tonight, and really anytime, a hit in the rear, if you're hit in the rear by another automobile, it's basically, I don't want to use the word slam dunk, but it's almost a slam dunk on liability. So then it's just a matter. Hello?
I'm sorry, guys. My fault. Okay. Go ahead, Stu. I'm sorry.
Okay. In an automobile case, if you get hit in the rear, it's basically a slam dunk on liability because the driver's always at fault from hitting someone in the rear. Then you just have to measure the amount of damages, which are your injuries and treatment. So on icy roads, the argument against that is, well, you're not supposed to be driving so close behind someone that he couldn't stop in time, or you were driving too fast that he couldn't stop in time. But a hit in the rear is usually what they say per se negligence. It's an automatic negligent act, and then
you can skid into somebody from 100 feet away. That doesn't mean you're right on top of them.
No, but that's a mitigating circumstance.
Well, that's why you go to court.
Right. So, and that's why it's very key, if you, God forbid, you're in an accident, to get a police report and tell the police exactly what happened.
I've been down that road too, and I've told, it's a police officer shows up at the scene, he takes his notes, he writes them all up. All of a sudden, he gets a call, he's got to leave. Another officer shows up, takes the supposed information, and by the time you get all done, I never said that.
Right.
I never did that.
You can head down to whatever precinct took that information down and do an amended report where you want to amend.
You see, but people don't know that.
Can I ask you a question? Because a lot of times, and Norm, you know what, you bring up a good point, which is amazing. But
bite me.
My question to you is this, right? If you get into an accident, the police officer typically will go in their car and they'll write the report up, and then they just say, okay, go home. Can you, say to the officer, I want to see the report before you file it?
Well, they're just taking notes at that time. It's going to take them a few days to actually write up that report on a state authorized form, which is called an MV-104, and that's used statewide. So he's not filling out that MV-104 report at the scene. He's just jotting down notes, and he'll transfer to that official report later on. I think depending on whether you're in Nassau or New York City, it takes a week or two to get that MV-104 report, an official copy. And now you can even get on the internet after, I believe, 10 or so days.
It's if you're not nice to that police officer, you could be totally upset and pissed off at the world. But God forbid, and he writes up the wrong thing, you are so screwed.
Right. And that's
your
why
arm could be hanging off. Your head could be completely twisted. I don't see anything.
Your arm could be hanging. Well,
Wow.
Okay. So here's a question for you, Stu. If, say, you get into an accident, and typically a lot of times, or maybe not, I don't know. I haven't been in a lot of accidents, but there have been times where people, like right after the accident, seem fine, like there's nothing wrong with them. And then a week later, there's a lawsuit filed that this person
is really screwed up. And it goes from they were walking around right after the accident, they seem to be fine, to now all of a sudden they can't stand up straight. Is that common?
Yes. Yes. Very
And is that
common.
because they meet with somebody like you and you tell them this is
Well,
Shame. Oh.
I tease.
it happens all the time. In situations like that, what I say is go get treated by your doctor or go to a specialist, get an MRI, et cetera, et cetera. Do what the doctor tells you. And then let's see what happens with the doctor's report.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens with the diagnosis. Because in doing what I do in my field, you learn that the human body sometimes, an injury takes a little while to go through its physiology and to manifest itself. Got that, Norman?
Got it. Been there, done that.
Right. So
not only that, I've gone to certain doctors that certain attorneys tell me to go to.
Right.
Exactly.
And
so
you know
who your staff.
You know who agrees with you? Sangeeta is watching tonight.
Sangeeta.
She loves your chair, and she says, she has a therapy practice, physical therapy practice, and she's saying that she sees a lot of that too, where people seem to be fine, and then all of a sudden they come up.
Right.
She just opened up a new business too. She just made it larger.
We could talk about Sangeeta another night. We'll talk about Stu tonight. So
that's fine.
Whoa.
I love you, Sangeeta. I love you. No.
Well, let me just cap that off by saying that you have 3 years in New York State to sue on an accident. So you can manifest injury 6 months, 8 months later, and you still have over 2 years to file a lawsuit.
Well, okay. So wait a second. How do you manifest an injury 6 months later?
I'm not a doctor, but it does happen. But you need a doctor to say, this is what happened with this person, that she was complaining of back injuries. And finally an MRI in July showed a herniation or a fracture or an injury. Right. And the doctor says, well, she's a librarian. She doesn't have much, stress in her job, physical stress. This is related to the injury back in December.
Well, wait a second. And this is where I kind of go sideways on this, because it really gets at me. You don't know what that person's done in the last 6 months. And like all of a sudden they could have been out doing something.
Well,
and it's like workman comp cases. Okay. You see those all the time where people get hurt on the job. And it wasn't that they got hurt on the job. They got hurt at home. Then they went to work and pretended to get hurt on the job so they can collect workman's comp.
Well, you as the attorney, you have to flush that out. You have to say, look, this is what I'm working at here. It's not cut and dry that you're gonna have a successful case because of the time differential from the injury to the doctor diagnosing your injury. I take that in consideration, obviously. But if the doctor says, look, I've been doing this for 25 years, et cetera, this is related to her injury. And especially with a young person, if a young person has a herniation or an injury like that doesn't happen in a younger person, say 20, 25 years old, it's most likely associated with trauma from an automobile accident.
Okay, so let me ask you, in your experience, and you got a lot of years doing this thing, when you said you can pretty much flush it out fairly quickly, can you tell if somebody's feeding you a line of crap, for lack of a better term, if as you're asking questions about how the injury happened,
right,
and all of that stuff,
right?
Can you kind of tell based on their answers that doesn't jive with what normally happens?
Sure, all the time, because everything has to line up. If someone comes to me and says, I never got a police report, or I never spoke to the police, that's a red flag right there. Why didn't you get a police report, or why didn't you call the police? I never got treated, or I didn't go to the hospital that day. I didn't go to the hospital till 2 weeks later. That's a red flag. So,
Well, if he doesn't have the injury and he feels he or she is okay, like you said, sometimes it doesn't. You don't get the result immediately, and you could get, your back could be hurting. You never had back pain before. You never went to because you're going to ask for the medical records of your internist for years, and you're going to see a difference.
It's like that thing that you get into an accident where you get banged up pretty good, and you don't feel it till the next morning.
Right. Exactly.
You go to sleep, your body relaxes, and everything tightens up.
Right. Let me just add one thing. Discussing injuries and car accidents. New York State has what's called a no-fault law, and under the no-fault law in New York State, if you're involved in a car accident and you receive an injury, God forbid, you have to prove what they call a serious injury to move forward with your case in the courts. And what is a serious injury? So the law has actual list and explanation of what they consider a serious injury. A fracture is a serious injury. If I fracture my pinky, I have met the serious injury threshold. They talk about dismemberment or disfigurement. And then the last, not by least, without getting into legalese, the catch-all is if your lifestyle or daily routine has changed for 90 out of the first 180 days after the accident. In other words, if you stop working or you do a routine for 3 months out of the 6 months following the car accident, they consider that, you have met the serious injury threshold.
Okay, so Stu, what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about that 3 months. Is it consecutive? Is it multiple days? Is it just a different? So we're going
and other things besides car accident.
Right.
The ice and snow.
The ice and snow, right? And those things, because an ice and snow slip could be one of those things that kind of throws us off. So we're going to be right back. We'll be back in about 2 minutes, but stick with us. And come on.
And we'll be right back.
And we'll be right back.
Thank you.
A little slow tonight.
No, it's, you know what it is? It's a different setup, different computer. It doesn't work the same.
No audience?
Let me just tell you a little bit about our upcoming Donna Summer concert, backed by popular demand. Donna Summer is going to rock the stage on December 12th. Here's a little bit of what you'll be seeing. Okay, so now to get tickets for such a great event, Friend Entertainment.
All right, we're going to stop that.
That's a good idea, considering it was last week.
It was last week.
That was last week.
Sorry. We got a whole, this snowstorm has really put a glitch into everything. So
no, just into you.
Just into me, yeah.
Just into you. That's all.
Is anybody listening?
Oh yeah, we got people out
they're sitting around.
We got Sangeeta out there. We got a whole bunch of people watching.
Okay.
I just don't see names when we're doing that. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we got a whole bunch of names on there and everything else. And
okay.
There's at least 4 or 5.
Yeah, we probably got John from Hazlitt. He's probably sitting there going, I wonder what time I'm going to send my wife out to shovel the driveway. So right, John? Is that what you're doing? You getting your wife out there to do it? But so Stu,
yes.
Let me ask you. Let's go back to what we were just talking about. You said if my life changes for 3 out of the next 6 months, could it be something where, for the most part, I can do a majority of what I normally do, but there are certain things that I always did that I now can't do, and it's not every day. It could be, say for example, I work out every other day. Right. And then I get injured, but now I can't work out anymore, but I can still do everything else that I normally do.
Right.
Would that be considered
Yeah, I would. What happens in a case like that? I would make the case that meets the threshold of a serious injury because you had a routine involved in your daily life and it changed due to that accident. And there's no measure of how slight your life has to change, but if it's a routine that you do every day and it has the accident impacted that, then you make that argument without again getting too technical. The insurance company is going to say, no, you didn't meet the threshold. Obviously, this case has to be dismissed. So they make a motion to the court, and I'm in the position where I have to oppose that motion and tell the judge, wait a second, they did meet the threshold because of this, this, and this. And it happens every day.
So there's always this battle because the insurance company is never going to just say, yeah, sure, let me write you a check.
Right.
Right. They're always going to fight you on it as much as they can.
Right.
Sometimes, because if you have a really serious, they know they're going to pay.
Right.
They're going to want to make a settlement with you instantly.
Those are few and far between.
Exactly.
So let me how, and you hear these stories about guys that get hurt on the job and now they're home on workman's comp, or they're waiting for a case to be settled and stuff, and they get caught climbing ladders or fixing stuff around the house and things like that. And
right.
The insurance company, has them, is that common where they have a private investigator kind of following them around?
A private investigator is not common, but it happens. It definitely happens. I warn clients if I know I have a good injury, and first of all, don't put anything on Facebook or Twitter or social media.
Let me ask you a question, Stu. What's a good injury? You said if I have a good injury, what is a good injury?
I don't want to make light of it because this is people actually injury. Anything doing with a surgery. I had to have surgery because of my car accident. I had to have a pin inserted. I needed a brace inserted. I had a broken femur, a tib-fib fracture. Anything involving hardware insertion in your body.
So that's a good injury in the sense that you're going to get some kind of settlement.
Correct. If the
liability
heats up.
I have before you and I met. Let's see, we've known each other, about 4 or 5 years. About 7, 8 years ago, my wife worked for a company and she drove to Albany. And she went into a Starbucks to get a cup of coffee. She went into Starbucks and she slipped, ka-ching, fell on the floor, and has 14 pins in her right arm.
That's a good injury.
That was a good injury.
Right.
So that's how you afforded the Maserati.
Absolutely.
Right. That's Darren, when I say a good injury, as opposed to someone, what the lawyers call soft tissue injuries,
right.
Which are, you don't have a fracture, you don't have surgery.
Explain that.
We have three evil guys. Three evil guys in here.
No, but with soft tissue injury, you hear that terminology all the time. Let me ask it this way. I got into an accident, I get rear-ended, and I have a herniated disc. Is that considered a soft tissue injury?
Yes.
Okay, so why is that considered a soft tissue injury and a bone break isn't? Because if I have a herniated disc, the disc actually breaks.
Because the soft tissue, it doesn't involve, as of what you're explaining to me now, invasive surgery yet, and it's not involving a fracture or an organ within the body, or disfigurement or dismemberment, like as defined in the no-fault law. See, everything is curtailed to the no-fault law. So if I have someone who comes to my office and tells me, oh, they have a herniation, I say, oh, it's a soft tissue injury, as opposed to something that definitely meets the no-fault law.
Have you ever taken any medical courses?
Just through on-the-job training, doing this.
No, I'm serious, because
I
I
never
know
took
other attorneys that have.
Right. They have. I've taken CLE classes, continuing legal education, that involves the training of medical terms and reading medical records. And just doing this, you involve yourself with doctors all the time. So you learn the nomenclature of doctors' words and reports and how they assess things. So a lot of it is on the job training.
Besides car accidents, what other kind of cases have you worked on?
That's a good point, Norman.
Thank you, Stuart.
With tonight's weather being so treacherous, a lot of people, unfortunately, will probably get, not a lot, but people will get injured due to this trip and fall on a wet or icy or snowy surface, whether it be on the sidewalk, in a public place, in a parking lot, et cetera, and they'll probably suffer some kind of injury involving a fracture and maybe necessarily surgery.
So similar to what Renee experienced at Starbucks.
Correct.
Is this a good night for you to take some business cards and stand in front of the emergency room at Stony Brook?
He's not an ambulance chick.
I'm laughing because I know it's been done. I know it's
Of course it's been done.
Right. So
John from Hazlitt wants to know if you can sue a church for a
you can
slip.
sue a church?
Can you sue a church?
Absolutely. You can sue any religious affiliation or organization.
Who was this that asked?
John from Hazlitt.
Right. So with the slip and falls on a sidewalk or a property, it really varies upon whether the accident happened in the city or Nassau County or Suffolk County, even within the township itself, because all these towns with all these villages within the towns in Nassau and Suffolk County have their own rules or ordinances for clearing snow and who's liable and who's not liable. Within the city, within New York City, the 5 boroughs, within the last 10 years, they switched the liability to the homeowner, who's responsible for his sidewalk and walkway, et cetera, et cetera.
So wait a second. So on a night like tonight, right, the homeowner goes out, shovels everything, right, and cleans everything up. Everything's nice and clean. The city comes by and plows and throws snow all over the sidewalk. Now I walk down the street, I sit in front of the guy's house. Now I'm going to sue him instead of the city. Is that correct?
I would do that initially, yes. But
Okay.
in New York City, there's a 1 and 2 homeowner family exemption that they're not liable for the sidewalk if you own a 1 or 2 homeowner.
This is why you got to call.
Right.
This is why you gotta call.
I don't want to get into specifics, but that's why you have to know where the accident happened and what the local ordinances are.
This is a
Okay,
true
Also,
story.
look, can I add one thing? There's a rule that
Sure.
you have, as a homeowner, you have no duty to clear your sidewalk or shovel your walkway, et cetera, during the duration of a storm, and even for 6 hours after that.
Oh, so you got a little wait. Okay, so let me ask this question. I go out and I'm shoveling my own driveway, and now I go shovel my neighbor's driveway because I'm a nice guy, and I slip and fall.
And you slip and fall?
Who am I suing? And I slip and fall. Why I'm shoveling?
I would say you probably have a very tough case. All right, because you had no duty. You had no duty to clear the sidewalk of your neighbor. And
Yeah, but when he fell, he split his head open.
Right. Oh, then that's stuff you have to sign.
Well,
him up.
there got to be some industry
Right.
here. So let's make it good. He
That's
split
right.
his head open, and
Right.
his eyeball got a twig
Okay.
or something in it.
Right.
Wow, what's wrong with
Well,
Something very wrong.
But on a situation like that, the defense, the insurance company, his homeowner's insurance company is going to say, well, there's no liability on our part. What did we do wrong? You took it upon yourself, and under the theory of contributory negligence, you contributed 90% probably to your own accident.
I gotcha. So, okay, so let's look at it like this then.
Don't be such a good Samaritan.
Yeah, John from Hazlitt sends his wife out to shovel a driveway, which is what he's going to do tomorrow anyway, right? So that's
because he had a heart attack and he's still healing.
Yeah, he's faking it. It's a year ago. It's over. Come on. But anyway, so now she's out there shoveling, and the neighbor says, "Can you help me? Clear my driveway for me because I can't." The neighbor couldn't do it, and she went over and helped on the asking of the neighbor, and slipped and fell. Then what?
Prove it.
Well,
who's there to say she said that she asked?
Right. That's a better situation than just volunteering yourself and being a good Samaritan, because here the neighbor asks you to help. There's a lot of other factors involved in that situation. Exactly what was going on. I don't want to get.
Do you have to take out your cell phone and ask her to repeat it? Could you ask me that question again? Can you help me?
Right. Is the storm still going on? Is it has a grace period passed?
The storm's over. She won't go out when it's snow.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's not impossible, but that's another tough one.
So yeah, I mean, it sounds like by just the way you described the whole New York City thing, there's so many gray areas that you shouldn't go this alone. You got to get in touch with Stu. And
absolutely.
Stu, how does somebody get in touch with you?
That's why, and I laugh when people say, "Oh, I was coming out of the supermarket at Stop and Shop and I slipped and I fell. I'm going to sue them. I'm going to get $1 million." And as an attorney, the situation, you kind of chuckle because it's not that easy. It's not that easy.
Stu, because we've known each other for a while, I'm a pretty avid lead generator for people. But it's so difficult to get you or someone like you a lead. By the time I find out that somebody got injured, they've already secured somebody.
Sure.
And they're already in hearings. It's very tough. Do you actually have stuff that people can keep in? Because I know an attorney that did, and also a collision shop that you make these cards and you just keep the cards in your car. That God forbid you do have an accident, you can call the collision shop.
I can tell you this: no, the auto body shops, by law, they're not allowed to stop at an accident and hand.
No, but you can keep their card in your car. So that if you do, it's the same thing that I'm mentioning to you. Do you do any promotions like that? So people can have
I do. I pass my card around to body shops and physical therapy facilities. I don't hang out at the ER every night.
Wait, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays?
No, he didn't say it. He just said it. He doesn't hang out every night. What nights?
Right. So I said Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Well, Stu,
and today happened to be Wednesday. We took them off.
Stu, how can people get in touch with you?
They can get in touch with me very easily through email is skitchner@kitchenerlaw.com. Phone number is 516-708-9250. And the website, www.kitchenerlaw.com. Very easy. People will take down the phone number and get in touch with me. I don't know if I'll be in the office at 9 a.m. tomorrow, but I'll receive my phone calls.
Oh yeah, you will.
No, look, and that's the thing. In this day and age, everybody's working remote for the most part.
Right.
So, being in the office, we all know you can get that information, you can get back, you can do those things. So
you have a really nice office too. The people that work for you are really nice. The administrative people are very friendly. very personable, nice people.
Right. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, Norm does a great job with he's a great promoter. I gotta give him that. He's a great promoter. He really is.
Mm.
And and well, you've dealt with Stu, you've dealt with his office, so you know firsthand exactly how it works. So,
Right.
Stu, if God forbid, is there any other type of stuff that you would handle? I mean, do you handle workman's comp cases? Do you handle
No, workers' comp is really a practice unto itself, and the attorneys who do workers' comp strictly do workers' comp.
Okay.
And it's a volume type business because that's the way those firms operate.
You do any other kind of law besides personal injury?
I do some medical malpractice. In fact, I have 2 cases right now where involving the opioid situation on Long Island, involving overdoses. So that's a timely matter that I'm heavily involved with.
Is that a criminal case or is that?
Well, that's a great question. It potentially is, and that's all I'll say about that.
So you can say.
Well, it's I'm handling the civil aspect of it.
Gotcha.
So, okay, so how common are these medical malpractice cases? Because it's
more common than people think. And there's all types of malpractice under the medical malpractice umbrella, such as dental malpractice, podiatric malpractice, orthopedic, any type of medicine. But it does go into podiatric and dentistry too. Doctors make mistakes. They don't want to make a mistake, but it happens. On the other side, they're very tough cases to prove. Medical, and it's very costly for someone in my position to pursue a medical malpractice case. Many personal injury attorneys will not do that, will not pursue them because of the overhead and costs involved.
Yeah, I do know another personal injury attorney that actually that's what he specializes in, is medical malpractice.
Oh.
And him and I were talking one day. His overhead is just astronomical.
Right.
And he has to lay out for every case. He's laying out hundreds of thousands of dollars. And,
right.
By the time you settle, sometimes it's a year to 2 years.
And at least
maybe.
Right. The reason for that is, in New York State, the law is you cannot move forward through the court system on a medical malpractice case without an expert supporting your case. In other words, another doctor. So you have to have another doctor. Say you have an orthopedic case, God forbid, you have to have an independent orthopedist say, oh yes, this was medical malpractice. And you have to pay him for his time.
Wasn't there a period where doctors would not testify against doctors, accountants don't testify against accountants, lawyers don't testify against lawyers? Not the same anymore, right?
No. But it on that note, it's easier for the defendants to find experts who will defend a medical malpractice case than it is for a plaintiff such as myself to find an expert to prosecute against another doctor.
Nobody wants anybody to, as an accountant, I wouldn't want anybody to, sue me and then have another accountant say, yeah, he was wrong. I would rather have an accountant defend me and say, yeah, everything he did was right, close to it, and there's not much you can do about it.
Right.
Friend Eileen is on tonight. Hi, Eileen. She said the average time for a medical malpractice case is 7 years.
7 years?
7 years it takes to settle.
That I would not argue with that. Sometimes it's probably a little less.
You don't want to argue with Eileen anyway.
Oh, okay. I don't know Eileen.
She knows her stuff when it comes to
Okay, 7 years then.
Yeah. If Eileen says it's 7 years, it's 7 years.
It's
Okay.
7 years.
Okay, 7 years.
To the day. And she's probably sitting in front of her TV now laughing the heck.
But no, I mean seriously. So you do your personal injury is really towards slip and falls and accidents and all of that fun stuff. And, and really, you want those cases with the good injuries, right?
Well, again, that term "good injury." You want a case. The reason is for that is because from a business aspect, the more serious the injury, the more value there is to the case.
Right.
And that's just
on contingency, right? You're not, and I'm not, because a lot of times, like I'll go to my business attorneys that I work with, and I'll say, okay, I need a contract written up, and and they'll go, okay, it's $600, and they'll charge me, bill me by the hour. You're not doing that, right? You're
no.
doing on what the case pays.
No, everything's on a contingency basis. So the standard fee is 1/3 of whatever the plaintiff reaches, either through a settlement or trial or verdict or mediation, arbitration. Standard 1/3 fee.
So it's advantageous for you, right, to get the most money you can.
Right.
And that's why now, can a lawyer come in and say, I'm just going to do it for a flat fee. You got to pay me 10 grand and I'll do this case.
Not on personal injury cases. Everything is done by contingency. I don't want to say I'm 100%, but I think that taking a personal injury case on a set fee is maybe against the ethics.
Okay. So it's kind of because when you're taking a flat fee, then it's path of least resistance, right? It's
right.
The faster you can dispose of the case.
You're not going to work for it.
Right.
Work for it.
Right.
More money, the less time you spend on it, the more money you're making.
Stu, do you got any seminars or teaching or lectures or anything else that you got coming up for the new year?
With the COVID, no. I did do some CLE teaching or lectures with regard to construction accidents a while ago. I might add that's another thing I work on. Construction workers who get injured on the job, a scaffold fall or injury or and there's all types of obviously injuries that occur.
Is it better to fall 40 stories up versus 4?
Yes.
And on that note, it is the end of our evening.
Right.
We'll leave with a smile. Stewie, we want to thank you very much for being on again. You're always a great guest. You're a lot of fun.
Thanks.
I hope I never have to sit in front of you because I've had an accident.
Right,
If
exactly.
I ever do, you're my guy. That's
exactly. I appreciate that.
One more time, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you.
skitchener@kitchenerlaw.com. Email, again, skitchener@kitchenerlaw.com. Phone number is 516-708-9250. The offices are in Great Neck. And it's www.kitchenerlaw.com. Thank you guys very much.
All right.
It's really
stay safe.
We wish you a happy new year.
You too.
All right, so you stay safe, your family, everybody.
I'll speak to you soon.
Get somebody else to shovel your driveway for you. All right, Stu. Have a good night.
Thank you, Stu.
You too. Thank you, Norman. Thank you, Darren.
You're welcome.
What a fun show.
Yeah,
we took a kind of like serious subject and we had fun with it.
Yeah, he's always a great guest, and he's
a good boy
in what he does, and you know what, he's good at what he does. So it's so important that people get, if they do have any of these type of things going on, they get in touch with them.
You got to have a professional always, no matter whether who you use. You got to have a professional, like yourself. You represent your clients in various different ways. And Stuart does the same thing. And it's very important to have a professional take care of you.
Exactly.
And that's it. Well, next week is our next to the last show for the year.
Is it really? Well, we got what? Do we have Monday and Wednesday next week?
No, not Monday, just Wednesday next week. We have a wonderful charity. It's your favorite Wednesday of the month.
It's my favorite Wednesday of the month. But actually, that's not true because it's
Oh,
not.
it isn't the week after, so we haven't made plans yet, for that one. Whether we're gonna have our New Year's party or not.
Well, who do we have on next Wednesday?
Next week, it's an organization called COPE, which is Connect Our Paths Eternally. And it's a sad subject that we will give it some dignity, unlike tonight. But it's an organization that if you're a parent and you lost a child, how are you coping and how are you handling things?
Oh, yes, we've had them on before.
No, this is the first time.
No.
No? Okay.
Are you sure?
Pretty much so.
Are you sure? Are you
No,
sure?
we had the other way around. We had the one that camp, I forgot the name.
Oh, camp, yeah.
Right.
Right. It was okay. They
That
do
was
the
if you
same
lost-
thing, but
Right. Yeah.
I got you. All right, great. I'm looking forward to it because it's my favorite day of the month. So,
Yep.
Be safe.
You too, everybody. Everybody be
I
safe.
wanna thank,
Otherwise, you'll wind
Eileen.
up in Stu's office.
Exactly. But I want to thank Eileen, John, Sangeeta, and everybody else that's watched the show. Quick shout out to my nephew Josh in the Army. Heather's husband. And,
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you. Yeah, and he watches religiously, so I'm happy about that. And my love to everybody in the family. So, all right, my friend, you have a great week. Stay safe.
You too. Everybody stay safe. Be careful. All right.
If you
And
don't
wear your mask.
don't go out. There's no reason to go out. All right.
All
Okay,
right.
everybody. We'll see you guys
Good night, everyone.
next Wednesday night at 7 p.m.